Okay, last night I was listening to Chinnamasta, Gayatri Mantra to sort of, I meant to listen to the usual mantra I listen to, but I accidentally picked on a different mantra that I've only listened to a few times. But as I was listening to this mantra, something was open to me, and I saw a cord, like a flesh umbilical cord between me and this gray alien. But it wasn't like the gray aliens I talked to. They're descended from Azazel. They were. This one was. Yeah, he looked like. Well, for one thing, he had pupils. He had eyes. That are like ours. He didn't just have these these empty orbs for eyes, and these empty ovals basically. And his eyes weren't oval either. They're regular, and um, he had a really elongated head, which was really strange. Almost like a dinosaur or something. His body was stout, and it was like he had something in between an exoskeleton and an endoskeleton. It's like he had his skeletal structure was inside, but also sort of, like we have a rib cage, but that's not an exoskeleton. But it was almost like as if he had a more like detailed rib cage, or he had like multiple structures sort of like a rib cage, so he had this sort of like hard body look. And he looked like a dinosaur basically in that way. But he was gray, and he mostly looked, I guess really the only thing between him and Azazel's grays was that he he was the color gray, and other than that, he wasn't really that similar. Because the grays are, as far as I've seen, mostly energetic beings. I have some friends with stories that sort of corroborate that. I think that they can physically manifest themselves, but or certainly probably, I think that they do have physical manifestations, but we as humans are soft and fleshy, and I think I've seen that beings that are more energetic than us, whether they truly have a body or not, they almost have this appearance like invertebrates. Like when I see Arcturians on the astral plane, I wonder if they have a skeleton, because the way they move and stuff just looks so fluid and everything that I almost sort of doubt it. And then so this thing, Katesh mentioned how there's two different types of grays. The thing is, she said that short grays are the ones that are like, they're their own thing, and they're like insectoids, more or less. And then there are ones that are just reptilian hybrids from somewhere else entirely. I think she's mostly right about, this tells me she's probably mostly right about it, because this one gray looked vaguely the same shape as like the head shape looked vaguely like the tall ones, but other than that, it was pretty much couldn't be more different, and the color, of course. And it really wasn't the same. It was more like a dull silvery color rather than the flat gray that the grays are. So that was interesting. But the funny thing is, this thing appeared to me to be very short, and the more energetic grays that aren't reptilians at all look very tall to me. So it's kind of the opposite of what Katesh said. I think she may have a little more skill surfing the astral plane than I do, but which I'm starting to wonder if doing Enochian and astral projecting are just kind of the same. But I've just went into the first Aether, and it was like already pretty much like woof. So I just wonder if it's astral projection with more, you know, like you're going somewhere specific that's more powerful. I don't know. I've heard some people talk about doing Enoki, and it almost sounds more like the way they're doing it. It's just they're astral projecting through it, I guess. I don't know. No, that's not true though, because most of these people talk about astral projection separately. I guess they just really prefer to go there. I mean, I go to the moon a lot, so yeah, disturbing. Now, the thing that really worries me about this thing with Chinnamasta is it sort of implies that a lot of deities might just be grays. Well, see, I'm not sure. Did Chinnamasta show me this to say, hey, your life force is being sapped by so-and-so being? Is this actually the being I think is Astaroth that I'm talking to? I don't think so, though. I don't think that. So where's the drain coming from? I also don't completely believe that, okay, you have to offer, like, consent for a lot of things. I believe that, but I believe that there can be stuff held over from previous lifetimes, and, you know, especially I think lower beings can just go for it. Or rather, I think with the whole withdrawing consent can be like a psychic defense measure that's powerful within itself. That's not, you know, it's the, because if you don't have a will to protect yourself, you know, you're just vulnerable. If you say, if you define certain things, it does put up barriers of intention, which are very real, and that's very magical. So that raises the question: is permission really as powerful as people think, or is it just through meditating on permission, they're just building psychic barriers, which, you know, functionally work the way they say, but it's not cosmically that way. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the truth. That's probably the way it is, because otherwise, how would anything bad ever happen to anyone? I always think about this. When was the first, you know, when was the first time reptilians murdered someone or dragons ate something? Because it should then crystallize to be, even in flesh, everything has to be permitted. So I just think a lot of these systematic ways of thinking of things are wrong. But this probably ties into my notion about applying game theory to these occult things. I don't even know much about game theory. I guess not really so much game theory. Yeah. No, more like what some kind of rigorous logical evaluation, something like that. I don't know. I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but no. The question just has to be if it doesn't work in all cases, or if you know. Sometimes I feel like there's an attempt to over-explain some of these things in an attempt to cover some of the. I don't know. I think intention's powerful, and it works as a shield, and I don't think there's much more to it than that. I think this idea that we as souls have to permit everything that happens. I mean, but at some point something bad had to happen to somebody. I mean, maybe angelic souls, you know, are very hedged and can't be messed with, and then, you know, souls that are just basically pedestrians of the galaxy don't have such protections, and, you know, it's for them to experience these things. You know, I also had the sense that maybe not just we're the experiment of all the star races, but maybe some of the lower star races are experiments to the larger ones. I mean, what is the phenomenon of life, and, you know, who are humans here even alive from the perspective of something like Arcturians? Although I think that, yeah, they're trying to get us. They want us to evolve. I don't know if they want us to evolve into light beings per se. I think they want us to hold the light and become more energetic in general. But yeah, I don't know. I don't believe Arcturians are completely light beings, anyways. Not in that way. I think I don't know. The whole thing of Arcturians having 3 fingers and long heads and stuff like that. Like, I found that so on my energy body, because I'm Arcturian, my head extends behind my physical head. So I started activating stuff back behind my head, where more mass of my head was in previous lives, and that really helped. I did that before some really good things turned. I mean, yeah, it could have been the cause of a lot of good things doing this activation meditation. I've done it a few times, but I mean, I did them all. I did them a few times. I did this meditation a few times around the same time. So, it took time to continuously reactivate it. And yeah, so the whole thing, oh, they're just light beings, they're balls of light. I I don't really believe that. I think some people, there's a little bit of a fad to reduce these things a little bit. Not, I shouldn't call it a fad, a trend. So I think it's a little bit of a manifestation of now all of the alien lore and everything is becoming real, right? Like, slowly. And I think it's all gonna become real, and I think in a decade everyone's just going to take aliens as a basic fact, perhaps a cult as well. And I think in 20 to 30 years we should disclosure should happen to the point where we meet aliens. I should think that should happen in the next 10 years, within the next 10 years, but I think at the end of the day they can just choose not to come. I don't understand the inner workings of that enough to know what that would mean. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of this with this being. I think it's just another scenario of, finding reptilians attached to my energy body. It's happened several times. But this one was really different and weird, and he's much more powerful. So there's that. Yeah.